And you're a professor at the Division of Design and Human Factors at Chalmers. So please welcome Marianne Karlsson.
Thank you very much. So let's see if you can find that.
No stress.
No stress at all. Can I only say that I think that when we talk about UBGO, there's certainly a we. We often talk about we developing and we evaluating, and then we need to say, no, Chalmers evaluated or someone else developed. But I think the fact that we did have a we feeling was very important for the results. So I think I will continue talking about we. Future mobility is a service with a question mark. And I think that quite a few other former speakers have indicated that there's a lot of potential, but there may also be a number of barriers. And I will start with repeating some of the things that Hans said regarding UBGO, and then continue with what I think, and quite a few others think, is in the future if we're going to solve this. And I'm going to talk about 2 projects that we just initiated to see how we can proceed. But we didn't know when we started to work with UBGO that it would be called a MAS, and maybe that was a good idea, but because maybe we didn't know all about the problems. But what we did know was that we didn't want to make it like a research study, or that we didn't want to make it into a pilot for only the sake of research. We wanted to turn it into something that would be designed and perceived by customers as the real thing. And I think that also played quite an important role in what it actually did contain by the end of the day. You said 70 paying, but we had 83 households altogether. Some were not paying. I won't go into who didn't pay. And 190 individuals in different types of households in Gothenburg. And one other thing is, of course, from our perspective, is to see that, I mean, we all talk about this as a means for change, but did people change the way they travel? Did they actually do anything different from what they did earlier? And according to their own reporting, and we do have some additional data that we can rely on, 45% approximately reported a change in mode of transport. I'm not saying that everyone went from car to public transport. I'm only saying that they did change. They changed in the way they planned their trips. They changed in their trip chains, and there were some who didn't report changes at all. Most of them were already public transport users and saw this as just a more efficient way of actually using the public transport systems. Others talked about access to cars that they didn't have, and quite a few, though, reduced their use of the car more so than they had ever intended, I think, and more so than they actually had thought they would, which made the business case a bit difficult, actually, because they didn't use the carpools as much as they did. So what I'm indicating here is really saying that there is a potential here. The question is, how do we design the service so that we sort of meet not only the mobility goals but also the societal goals for environmental sustainability. Now, when we tell this, I think that one of the, as I say, features was actually that it was a business. And a business needs customers, and customers need to be satisfied, otherwise they won't stay. And you have already shown that they were satisfied. Their satisfaction with their transport increased with UBGO, and quite a few, they went back to feeling not so very happy afterwards. Now, I know that quite a few also talk about, well, you had these special customers, they were special ones, these were the unique ones, it's not for everyone. And that's true, we never intended the service to be for everyone. It was designed for a particular type of households that would benefit from the offer. And maybe they were a bit of, if not innovators, so early adopters, they did have a sort of a curiosity to look for it. But can I say, over 6 months, curiosity will not remain, and it won't be the only thing that will keep people in the service. You have to offer some true benefits. But they can be very, very good playmates in talking about the service and activating other people into believing that this is a feasible solution. So they do play a very important part in the dissemination to other groups. And well, how long it takes depends, I think, about the service. The other thing is actually the service providers. And the question is, were they also innovators? Because we need innovators in order to move into a new arena. And I put a question mark there. And that doesn't mean that I'd sort of challenge the ones who did, but I'm only saying that it's important to see that we do need them. We do need the innovative service providers, service partners to move ahead. And I've also heard that, you know, people saying that Ubigo was a big success from my perspective, but it was a failure because it didn't continue. And that's why I want to take the next step and say, no, maybe the service providers were innovators and early adopters, but there were also walls to climb. With lots of people have mentioned mindsets, rules and regulations in different ways, and actually to sort of change your business model in order to fit into a mass business model, or to change your sort of responsibilities as a public transport provider with social responsibilities, to step into a new role is a wall to climb. And in a way, I would argue that customers are already climbing the wall. Users are already climbing the wall. Quite a few of them are. It's not complete without some effort, but they are climbing the wall. I can see that, what I can see here is that the ones who are sort of looking to the wall and trying to sort out how to climb the wall are actually service providers. And it's not maybe because they don't want to climb the wall, but do they have the tools and the ability to do it? And here I think is an extremely important part of the next step in order to move forward and facilitate the introduction of different types of masks to fit different needs. So this is actually what we're trying to do now in two different projects, one a national one and one an international one, and you'll see that you recognize some of the partners. One has this fantastic long name, Institutional Frameworks for Integrated Mobility Service in Future Cities. That will certainly sell the project anyway. We will try to find a new name for it, but it's initiated by K2, and we work together with Victoria and Lund University to try to really come up with policies and recommendations to facilitate the introduction of mobility as a service concept, where we do find perhaps a new role for public transport. And the other one is an international one, together with Martin and others, and VTT in Finland, so you see these pop up again. And that is actually looking on the same problem from a European perspective. So that's called Massify. But what we will do is that we will look into these different types of MAS systems that are, you know, have been run or are running at the moment. We will address, you know, the potential impacts, because it is true, as also Mats addressed, that we all expect it to have fantastic positive effects, but does it? And it's not only environmental, there can be social exclusion as well. We want to identify the challenges, technological, sure, organizational, legal. There are probably perhaps more on the mindset level than on the technical level, but we'll see. And we need sort of to come down to, when we say policy recommendations, it could be general recommendations for also the different service providers and businesses. And then the intention is, within this project, to develop a roadmap for how to proceed. So what do we need to know? What do we need to do? How do we sort of get going with a 10-year perspective? And I just want to stress that the importance of actually being able to, with or without the legal barriers, with or without the problems, to start to test, to make the trials, but not, as everyone said, as pilot with an end. Because in a way, we do, when we sign people on to a pilot, what will happen when the pilot is over? So, but at the same time, the consequences of new travel behaviour are difficult to envision. Behaviour isn't there before the behaviour is, and we need to actually provide the opportunities for people to see what it's like, and based on that we can draw conclusions regarding whether it is a potentially good idea or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you very much.